So Rahul, welcome to Planet Mavericks. It's a pleasure to have you.
Thank you, Kapil. Thanks for having me over.
Rahul, I know you started with real estate and then you were in banking and finance. So tell me more, what's the dream with renewables?
The dream that we have is to make an energy independence a reality. We want people to reduce their reliance on fossil fuels, on diesel generators, and the energy grid, and become energy self-sufficient and become energy independent. We truly believe in the decentralized model of energy generation. So we want to bring energy at the point of consumption rather than at the source. Right? So we want to bring this decentralized model into fruition, where we bring energy generation at the point of energy consumption and independence into the hands of every human being.
Yeah, it's a hub and spoke model today. So how are you doing this, Rahul?
We managed to integrate all the different components of a solar power plant, except solar panels, into a single compact portable unit. And we've done this across a range of capacities and sizes. We're probably one of the only companies in the world who's got a range of capacity. So our smallest unit is a very small compact unit that can be used for when you go camping, fishing, or off-grid use, or remote use, or outdoor recreation use. Two larger units, which will eventually move into a battery energy storage system.
So you're playing across this, right? So let's say starting from 10 watts all the way up to, it seems, I don't know, a few megawatts.
Absolutely. I think the whole spectrum of across customer segments, from our smallest units as small as a 100-watt unit. So we're accessing, or we're making solar accessible to across customer segments and across industries. We sell a lot towards defense, mining, healthcare, education, hospitality, all these sectors which have traditionally been very energy hungry, which rely on the grid, which rely on diesel generators as backup. In most of the markets that we operate in, you've got cases where, like for example, in the mining sector, typical leases exist for, let's say, maybe 5 to 7 years.
I know you're based in India at this point, but I also know that you sell world over at this point.
So product development is in Australia. We do our R&D product development over there, but we sell globally. So our biggest markets are South Asia, Africa, Asia Pacific, Europe. We are now making more inroads. The US is a big market, great opportunities in that market because the grid is fairly archaic over there. There is over dependence on, or there is a requirement to replace that with newer solutions. We're just waiting to see how the regulatory landscape over there holds up in the current environment before making deeper inroads over there. But yeah, I think globally, kind of the net zero transition that everyone talks about, the different economies are at different stages of maturity over there.
No, I think it's very exciting. So give me a lay of the land.
When we look at this solution first, our primary goal was to replace diesel generators as a source of energy, right? So we typically looked at markets like South Asia, Africa, Latin America. That's where we felt that, that's where the studies showed that the dependence on diesel was high. So we were looking at those markets traditionally. But when we looked at the Western world, like even markets like Australia, Europe, North America, the per capita consumption of power is very high. And those countries, the population is quite well spread out across the region. So the grid availability, grid infrastructure, although it's there, it's clearly archaic. There hasn't been any new development in the grid in the last few years. And because of climate change, the incremental weather and the number of times that the severe weather has increased significantly in these areas, which has resulted in people looking at depending on external sources of energy as a means of as a solar power backup. We've got areas in Texas, for example, where there was snow and the grid was out for a week. And those instances, like if you asked me 10 years back, one would have said impossible, that'll never happen.
So tell me about the model. You're manufacturing in India at this point. The design is in Australia.
So we're designing them in Australia, but manufacturing them out of China and India. All that engineering is our key USP. And that's done through years of R&D, and we continuously develop our R&D and product development. And that resulted in us being recognized as one of the most innovative companies in Asia Pacific.
And which is the biggest market or the fastest growing for you?
If you ask me for the next 3 years, I think next 3 years, I think South Asia is the largest market for us. Africa is number 2. I would say Europe number 3 for us. And then depending on America, North America and Latin America, I think if that market opens up, we'll probably be on par with Europe. The surprising part with Africa is that Africa actually moved into lithium faster than South Asia. South Asia, because of lead acid battery, had a small lag in getting into lithium space.
Of course.
But I think in the last 12 months, we're seeing that shift.
All right. And where are you now on all this? Are you investing more in manufacturing? Are you investing in design? Or basically in scaling these systems across markets.
Yes, absolutely. A lot of the design, the investment that we had to do in design and getting the product ready has been done over the last decade or so. Our primary focus now is on scaling this across the globe. Our initial focus, as I said, was more on the portable, smaller capacity units. Now that the larger capacity units are ready as well, we're setting up new distribution channels, distributor networks, retailer networks across most markets, and also leveraging off the kind of good work we've done over the last decade to keep growing these businesses. We've managed to get that sweet spot done, where we are probably not the cheapest, but we are not the most expensive as well. But we are probably the top three in terms of quality that we offer. The sales service that we have, our support network, everything, we've invested heavily in that space, and we make sure that our service levels are the best in the world.
All right. And is this a business you've basically built over time? How big could this be? And what are you looking at right now?
Look, this is going to be $1 billion opportunity. We're looking at a 50 million fundraise at the moment for expanding almost about 30 to 40 gigawatts of capacity in South Asia, Middle East, and Africa.
The 50 million that you're raising, this would be deployed primarily in market expansion or in engineering.
A third of that will go into setting up new assembly facilities in the Middle East and potentially even North America. A third of that is going to go into market development, business development, expansion. And the balance third is going to go into creating more product awareness, brand awareness, more marketing effort to be able to deploy, and also to hold some inventory in. And a third, the balance third will go into creating the market, creating awareness, creating brand awareness in markets like Europe and North America. Investment will be in the parent company, which is at the moment it's headquartered in Australia. We're probably the only companies with a full range of capacities. We're looking at getting close to $1 billion in the next 3 years. So we're looking at at least a multiplier effect, if not tripling or 4x or 5x on the investment in the next 5 years. We're looking at creating a brand name which is going to be synonymous with energy independence across the globe. So we're bootstrapped and family owned. So I think that's a great opportunity for investors to come on board and ride this journey with us.
Sounds fantastic, Rahul, and thanks for this opportunity also.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people would be very interested. Thanks for
Thank you. Appreciate that. Thank you.